It's time for another episode of Circle of Trades. I'm Todd Studer, and back in studio again, Travis Waldstein, my brother in the black shirt, since we both seem to dress pretty close to alike today. It's, I don't know how we end up doing that. But
us crayon lickers dress alike. So.
Yeah, crayon lickers, that's right. Yeah, that's what we are.
So.
How's your world?
Well, I'm not doing like with politicians or like somebody else I know, so it's going pretty good. So.
I just been interviewing candidates on the show, and I don't. You and I have talked about it before. I don't let people know what my own views are on things because I don't think that's my job. I think that everybody needs to be able to make up their own minds about it, and I'm just a platform to be able to do that. So.
Well, I hear you. No, it's sorry about that, folks. It's
that boring. But yeah, they've been going pretty well. We've got an election coming up on November 4th, which a lot of people do. It's kind of when it's an off year from national elections, getting turnouts a little bit harder.
Can I wish they all lose? Let's all lose.
I suppose the joke is vote for the wrong candidate, and we do.
Oh, that's not how that's supposed to work. Oh. There's got to be winners and losers. So.
Say, as we're recording this, I just saw a story come out today that somebody local just set the Iowa state record for size of catfish caught. It was I believe it was a blue catfish. Yeah. I don't know what the differences in these things are, but they took it up to actually what happened was that the guy's friend is the owner of the Anchor Inn Bait and Tackle.
Oh, okay.
So he headed down there. It doesn't say specifically where. It just says it was caught somewhere between Council Bluffs and the state line of Missouri.
Oh, wow.
But if he headed straight down there from Anchor Inn Bait and Tackle, I'm assuming that he's probably pretty close to Lake Manawa.
I would think.
The state park. And the article, I pulled this off of KCCI's website in Des Moines. Let's give the credit to where it needs to be.
Wow, there you go.
And so they took it to Rustic Cuts, the butcher shop that we have in Council Bluffs, to officially weigh it. And
the one that's for sale, but that one.
Yeah, that's the one. And they have a certified scale there, and the DNR met them. So DNR staff was at the river ramp to be able to make sure that all of this was done correctly. And it weighed in at exactly 105 pounds.
A big.
The previous record, here's the kicker though. The previous record was 101 pounds pulled out of the same place along the same stretch of river back in 2004. I wonder if it was the same fish.
Well, it could have been. Absolutely. So, you never know. They caught 20 years later, so they did a DNA on a damn thing. So.
Yeah, it said that this article goes on to say that most adult blue catfish weigh between 20 and 25 pounds. So getting up to 105, that's pretty darn rare.
That's like going to the state fair and, they got the 1,800-pound bull or 2,200-pound bull. It goes to stand up and it falls underneath its own weight because its hips and its freaking knees can't hold the damn thing. So
I thought you were going to talk about who was in line at the corn dog stand.
Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that either. So, hey, what would be even cooler is if noodling was legal in Iowa and they were noodling and instead of catching a snapping turtle, they'd have pulled that thing out. What? That'd be freaking awesome.
Noodling in the Missouri River. I don't think that's possible. That's like one of the fastest rivers in the United States. That's why you don't swim it. You don't get in that water.
Yeah. Well, it is. Is it the Mighty Mo or is it the Muddy Mo?
It's the Big Muddy and it's the Mighty Mo.
Yeah. Okay. It's the Big Muddy. You go over to eastern Iowa, people live along the Mississippi, and they have these river homes, and they got these rafts, but they know they build it for floods. And there's river towns along the river, but you just don't see people clamoring, like Big C's to build right along and put developments along the Missouri River. I can't understand why. It is like, I've always wanted to swim the Missouri River all my life.
Oh, no, don't swim the Missouri.
Uh,
The cool thing about this, though, is that at the tail end of this article, they have all of the records for other fish in Iowa. And there's all kinds of species here that I didn't even know were things.
oh yeah, I'm sure.
And the state record for big mouth buffalo, I
Okay,
didn't know, but that was caught out of Lake Manawa
really.
back in 2007. Congratulations, Ronald Anderson. That here's one that talks about the again, the blue catfish is listed. I'm looking for local ones here because a lot of these, they're pulling a lot of stuff out of the Mississippi.
Oh yeah, I'm
Um, uh, or the state record for channel cat was somewhere on the Missouri between Little Sioux and Council Bluffs.
sure.
That's 38 pounds,
Yeah. Uh
caught
huh.
back in 2005. This is a lot of stuff up in Okoboji, obviously.
Oh yeah.
They grow fish very large there. Uh, Long-nosed gar, the
Okay.
state record for that, same stretch, Little Sioux to Council Bluffs on the Missouri. That's
Yeah,
22 pounds.
I believe that.
Uh, there's another one I saw in here. A paddlefish, 107 pounds, was caught out of that same stretch in the Missouri
Really.
in 1981. That's how far back that record
Oh
goes.
wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Some of
So,
these are pretty old. A lot of farm pond records
oh,
all the way through this list.
well,
Um,
if you there's a few farm problems out around Council Bluffs. If you get to know somebody, they go fish them. You can pull some pretty good cats out of there. I've done that over the years. My youngest son loves. Actually, both two or three of my boys like to fish. So it's like we don't have enough time to do it, but it is always fun to go.
oh, I've been on some where pulling out bluegill and crappie that are just a lot bigger than I would think.
Yeah, I've sat up at Prairie Rose up east of Harlan up there,
Mhm.
and my son Hayden will sit there. He'll freaking flip it 15 little freaking let I said sunfish or whatever.
Mhm.
Just pulling them in left and right, and here's Dad 10 foot away. Ooh, this is great. So like yeah, who's teaching who how to fish this? So
I have actually heard some people that are serious about fishing saying they don't even brush their teeth before they go because the scent that they might get on their hands and then they're messing with the lures can have something to do with it. Listen, I'm not a fisherman. I don't know.
and
Uh,
I shower once a month whether I need to or not. So
it shows. The other one, the state record for yellow bass was caught out of Lake Manawa. 1.75 pounds. Bill Campbell caught this on April 1st, 1991.
wow.
That one goes back. That's just here locally in our area, some of the state records for different fish that have been caught. This according to the KCCI website, they said they got their information from the DNR.
Yeah, well, we've got. I like river fishing, but I don't want to do it in Missouri now. I've been to Little Sioux a lot growing up, and then we've got the Nishnabada quite a few times, so you catch some decent stuff on the Nishnabada. And that's kind of fun. So
I've fished the Iowa River. That runs through Iowa Falls, which
yeah,
is where I was born and have had family there. And then around Steamboat Rock,
yeah,
the Iowa River through there. And yeah, it's river fishing is it's fun
yeah.
as long as you've got a easy spot on the bank.
Yeah.
You'll
See,
be able to
every
do
time
it.
every time my wife has bought a turtle, and then she's decided to let it go back into nature. There's probably turtles at East Lake Park up in Mason City that I let go in early to mid '90s that are probably about the size of basketballs by now. 'Cause my wife's like, "Well, we can't have the turtle." It's like,
What kind of turtle were you catching?
oh, I don't know. Like I said, don't worry. My wife gets all these furry creatures or whatever, but when they're dead, then it's my responsibility. Always tell you, Riv, it's my responsibility. It's shocking how that works. So, it's like we had a chicken that attacked her once, and my son had to kill the chicken, but then she calls me. I'm on my way to an estimate, and she wants me to come home and clean the chicken. I'm like, no, it's a big. It was my favorite one too. It's Foghorn Leghorn. I
Oh, it was
mean,
your favorite chicken?
my favorite rooster of all time, but it went after my wife one too many times. It's like,
That that actually reminds me of a story of a friend of mine who was on his way home from doing a karaoke gig. Hits a
Okay.
deer.
Oh
You
no.
know, it's 3:00 in the morning because he closed down the bar from doing karaoke, and it's 3:00 in the morning, and he hits this deer, and it's a buck, and it's got it's a decent sized buck, and he decides that, well, I'm going to take this home and I'm going to clean it.
Okay.
So loads it up into his Astrovan, which he didn't have any of the seats in, so it's just the two seats in the front, and then it's open in the back, and he loads the thing up in there. Well, it's a really big deer. And so he kind of has to wedge it in and get the legs inside to get the door shut. And the deer's head with the antlers is between the two seats.
Yeah.
So he gets it in there, and then he starts off back down the road. The deer wasn't dead, and it wakes up. And so now he said, and he's telling the story, and this was at my first radio job, and we're doing a morning show together, and I am just laughing hysterically as he's telling the story. And so he's got one hand on the steering wheel, and he's got the other hand holding on to antlers, and he's driving down the road at about 90 miles an hour,
Oh God.
not knowing what to do because this deer's just going crazy. And he eventually, a sheriff's deputy sees him and pulls him over, thinking, you got a speeder late at night. And he
I love just looking at that sheriff's face.
yeah, and so the sheriff shoots the deer.
Oh well, good for him. So
And then my favorite part of the whole story is the sheriff's deputy asks him the question, well, how did the deer get in the van? And I'm thinking, and I said, I hope you told him. Oh, yeah, I saw him hitchhiking. He seemed like he was nice enough. I didn't think he was going to cause any trouble, so I was just giving him a ride.
yeah,
But
no, absolutely. So,
but he had when he got home, he still cleaned that deer.
good for him. So.
Yep, because when he came in that morning, he hadn't been asleep, and we're doing the show, I'm looking at him.
You got deer guts on him.
Yeah, I'm looking at him, but like, why are you so tired? And he's telling me this story, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, for you vegans out there, this material may or not be edited for social media. God. Oh.
All right, well, that's Wild Kingdom, stories.
I've got a few too, but yeah, that now the deer waking up in the back seat would be pretty freaking good. I have to admit. So,
Oh man, I'm just it was just too funny as he was telling me that story.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about something that's actually important, and that has to do with, well, let's just call it furnace safety or furnace maintenance or that kind of thing. You guys will come out and do an inspection for folks and let them know if everything is working correctly.
Yeah.
People are just now starting to turn their furnaces on as we're recording this.
The Indian summer that we've had, I mean, I mean, shoot, I haven't turned mine on yet. So, of course, I got a few layers, so I stay pretty warm. It's not a problem.
Yeah, it has been a little bit warmer than usual, but we're finally getting cooled down now. And it's getting down into the 40s and sometimes into the 30s at night. And it's getting kind of chilly. So furnaces are coming on.
I finally broke out sweatshirts. So, okay. So, I've had to break out sweatshirts. So, starting to do maintenance or maintenance, but people are finally starting to start up. Procrastinators are out there. There's a few that are still holding, but, obviously, if you haven't had somebody check it, you probably should. But if you need to turn it on, make sure your filters are clean. Make sure if, in the summertime, some people cover up their intake pipes or the exhaust pipes with some sort of like fishnet or stocking or whatever to keep bugs and stuff out. So definitely recommend keeping that. Definitely recommend making sure those aren't obstructed. Let's see what else. Obviously, if you haven't turned on, it might stink a little bit. It's pretty unusual. If it turns on as something that you don't think's normal, then yeah, definitely give us a call. Have us come check it out because I don't know. Unfortunately, you usually don't find out there's a problem until you go to turn on and you go, oh shoot, yeah, we have a problem. So we've definitely seen an uptick of that. I mean, it's that time of year. So yeah, give us a call at 712-256-4443, and we're more than happy to schedule, an appointment on that. So not a problem at all. So
That smell, though, that when you first turn a furnace on, I've always been told that that smell was dust that
yeah.
had collected and was now
Mm.
burning off, and that's where you're getting that smell.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know what dust is, though, right?
I
I mean,
know, yeah, I know. That's actually skin flakes and
it's everything else, the dog, the cat, you, whatever. I mean, that's dust. Yeah, we got two dogs at home. My wife's sleeping up half a dog every other week in the house because dog shit. I hate to say it, it is what it is. For you germaphobes out there, a little bit of dust in your life ain't gonna hurt you. Now, a lot of dust is a different story, but a little bit of dust isn't necessarily a bad thing.
so, but that smell isn't necessarily an indication. You just have to kind of wait for it to go away, and it
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, unless there's a problem, and then if it sticks around or persistent or something doesn't sound right. I mean, if you've lived in your house for any time, you generally have a good inkling or know what the sound is or what the smell is or whatever. So yeah, it's best. I mean, it's really your furnace probably just as much, if not more so, is the biggest energy consumer for most people in their home. Their furnace or their boiler. And so to keep it operated at peak efficiency, I mean, even 2, 3, 4, 5% of an efficiency difference over time will cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And listen, energy is not getting cheaper. So that's why you want to come and check to make sure you are keeping yourself at peak efficiency. And be proactive if we find a minor problem before it becomes a major problem. So, like when it's minus 10, because we'll have a couple of them days this winter, and they go, oh, yeah, we talked about that in October, but I think it's a big deal. Oh, now we're out here in January and it's broke. So, that's sorry, that's what happens. So,
It's a lot easier to fix something when the temperature outside is in the 40s and 50s, and
or 80s, and
that
once
too.
in October, it's like, we can fix it right now. It's not a problem. So,
But when you come in there and do that inspection, you can spot those problems.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When technicians are trained to do, we do visual inspections, we do combustion analysis, we do several things to check out the furnace to make sure that it's safe, make sure it's operational, see how overall it's performing. Before and afterwards, and part of their job is to make sure that we're adjusting issues. If you have a humidifier, turn it on. Change the pad if you didn't change it in the spring. I still don't understand the theory. People want to shut off their humidifier in the spring, so we'll leave the stinky old humidifier pad that grows mold and dust in our humidifier all summer long. But oh my God, but you got to change it in October because oh my God, you will get sick. And I said, you've been breathing the thing for 4 months. It's like, I don't know. So I'm always changing the humidifier pad in the spring, but you get people that think they know better, and it's like, okay, I don't care. So I actually like spring, because it ain't gonna hurt anything if it's sitting all summer long, if you know what I'm saying. So it's just not. So
Yeah. Anytime we get a chance to talk to Cindy Schmader, same kind of thing. When she starts talking mold, and that's what you're talking about, you can get really sick. And there's so many different kinds of mold that can be growing on something, and
mhm.
you never know what the real problem's going to be with that. So yeah, it's ounce of prevention, pound of cure
Yeah,
philosophy.
yeah, exactly. So better be proactive than reactive. But sometimes I get it. Life happens. So and when life happens, that's when you call. So it's okay. So I'm okay with that too. So
Well, do you want to talk about the excitement that you had earlier this week when you
oh
were digging a hole looking for a sewer pipe?
oh, we've had a couple of these doozies this week. So okay. So first of all, for anybody that knows, or maybe you don't know, when you have to do utility work outside, whether underground utility, run water service, sewer service, you have to call you have to call Iowa One call or 811, whatever. Iowa One call, and I think it is 811. My office does all that, but we'll call. We'll set up for locates, and we'll set up for a certain area. So. Um, So what happens with 1-800 or Iowa One calls? They call your Black Hills, your Mid America, City Council Bluffs, AB or Waterworks, whoever's got utilities out there, Google Fiber, that hits it, and if you don't think so, there's more stuff under the ground than you can imagine. I mean, you go to a given house, there's 5 or 6 different utility locates, more likely minimum, that come in the house. You used to have like CenturyLink, but now you got your Google Fibers and all these utilities that come into the house because we put everything underneath the ground. So so they want you to call so that way if you're within 18 inches of something, you either need to hand dig or make sure you don't hit it because you could be liable. So we had 2 things this week. We had one to where a 60-inch storm drain, 5 foot round storm
Mm-hmm.
drain, was supposed to be in the middle of the street, but was 11 foot off. It was underneath the sidewalk in a guy's retaining wall underneath his property. We're trying to put in a new water service from his house, and we were going to bore it. Well, when you have a 5 foot storm drain that's wrongfully located, where we were going to run our water line was right where that storm drain is. And so yeah, it took an easy job to a real difficult job. Guy lost a $7,500 boring tip underneath the ground. So because they have to, on these boring machines, they have tips that up and down and move, and that's how they move underneath the ground. He hit this piece of concrete basically underneath the ground, and it busted the tip off. So, and they have water, but we're not able to change the water service as yet because he's got to order a new tip because they couldn't get out of the ground. But we still, because of where it is, I mean, generally, or with a boring, you go down and then you kind of go across and then you come back up with your water
Okay.
service. Well, now we got to go, way down and then come across and then come back up because with where the street is, and right where this water service is, it's in a city right away, and there's a 40-foot cottonwood tree that sits right on top of the water service, and there's a gas main that's running right through this thing. It's like, I said, and of course, it's in the city right away, so guess who owns that? It's like, so yeah, so we have not gone back because the city wants us to run copper. It's like, well, so the price of a job because of that went up. So the other one we've got is up on the east side. It's it's on Lindbergh Street. We're actually got to close half the street off on Monday because this area has never actually been marked in Council Bluffs. This is pre 1930.
Wow.
They have maps, but I mean the maps are hand drawn, and you know, so the one map shows it on the north side of the street, another one shows it on the south side of the street. Cities had their camera, it runs up the middle of the street, finally, but it's like 11 foot underground, and of course this is a one way in, one way out. There's no like off street or whatever. Uh, so um, so we have um, um, so we're going to be, so we got to dig up that street. Luckily, I think we got to a point. I don't think they're going to be totally blocked in, but it's been one thing after another because the city locates are off for where it's at. We've got a front yard that's dug up with sewer lines out because we can't connect to anything, so we can't finish it and close it off. And it's not been a fun week with Wallstein Plumbing and trying to find these utilities. And a credit to the city. I mean, it's one of them deals, but things happen, and the city's working with us. I'm not mad at the city. It's just things happen, but when you talk cities and you talk building, and there's developments and there's all kinds of politics and stuff going on in town without building. What people don't realize is it's very expensive to stick a shovel in the ground. If you're going to put in utilities, if you're going to put in water services, if you're going to do all of this kind of stuff, to be able to feed the city services that you offer. And then you have to, that people want streets to drive, to be able to drive on top of them, and you have to have access, and, you want to be able to maintain it. And so, I mean, so a simple project, that was maybe a to $5,000 to $7,000 project, it is now going to become a $20,000 project. The one on Harrison Street, because utilities were in the wrong spot, and now we got to figure this out to make it right. And luckily, the homeowners got homeowners insurance that will cover that. So, in that case, but the other one we're going to have to go back and discuss with the city. It's not really their fault, but I mean, it's their responsibility to know where that's at. And, if they're 18 inches off or 2 foot or 4 foot off, and then we hit something, that's not marked, then we're not responsible for it. So, but at the end of the day, it all costs money. So what I would tell you, if you're a homeowner and you know anything about your utilities, or you know the history, and you're thinking about remodeling or doing an addition or doing an add-on, what I would tell anybody is, if you've had utility work done, make sure you know where your utilities come in. Make sure you know depths, locations, or at least have an approximate location if you can get that information. Good part, the newer subdivisions are all really well marked. The problem is when you're working in a 100-year-old subdivision, not a lot of it's marked, or you find out the hard way, okay, this or this is wrong. So if you're particularly moving in an older neighborhood, you're looking to do work and do stuff outside. It all seems easy. It doesn't seem like a problem until it becomes a problem. Yeah, it's given Hayden a few, I won't say sleepless nights, but he's getting a few of these great things on his hair. If his kids weren't giving it to him, dealing with that is, but it's really kind of amazing, how it's evolved. So when you talk, let's just say top base development, you have to set up all that stuff. I mean, $1 million for doing utility work in some of these areas is just a drop in a bucket, if you know what I'm saying. It's crazy. But
well, I'm trying to figure out how a 5-foot storm drain gets away from the street and moves over underneath a retaining wall.
11 foot. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out too. So, I don't know what the situation was, but yeah, they hit them our dead center in the middle of the road. It's like, well, it's not there. We found it. It's hard because all these utilities. So when we call they call companies, like they call the waterworks, they call all your utilities. There's one out there that's called USIC. There's people that come out like on private property that'll do utility locates on your property, because most cities, once they get past where their water shut off is, or gas shut off, what it is, so that's their point. So if you're in a place, there's some areas in town to where the gas shut off or the water shut off is down at the bottom of the hill, and the house is 400 foot up the hill, and you have to guess where the gas line or where the water line is. That's where knowing that information is huge. There's a house off Timber Drive that's we've ran to this summer too. So it's kind of crazy when you get up in these hilly areas and then people don't know, if you know what I'm saying. So.
Well, I can see how Hayden is struggling getting some sleep right now when you go in and you have everything zeroed in of how you want a project to go, and I got to do step A, step B, step C, and you can get through several steps, and like you said, you got a big giant hole dug, and then suddenly it all comes crashing down, and that's got to be tough.
It is. It's not good, but it's something. If you don't know it, you don't know. Here's the deal. Like I said, don't just assume that the city or the county has the information. Today, compared to even 20 years ago, there's so much head as far as the utilities look. If you live in the hills of Cedar Creek, if you live in, Briarwood, probably even Forest Glen, pretty much every one of your utilities is going to be marked, and you're probably not going to have a problem. But like I said, if you're in an older part of Council Bluffs or in the West End, or you know, they may or may not be marked, and who knows how accurate they are. And that's just is the craziness of it. But then you wonder why a price will go from $5,000 to $10,000. Well, if stuff ain't where it's supposed to be, that it's not free to dig it up. Unfortunately, it's kind of like it's like treasure hunting.
That's not a treasure I'm looking for. I'm
It's not
sorry.
treasure, right? I know it's a shot. So, but that'd be the best way I could describe it, without being whatever. So, but
It's Friday. We're recording this on a Friday. Why are you so busy?
I don't know. Everybody on my phone is kind of whatever. So yeah. So I have no idea. So
Well, do you want to make a prediction on an Iowa Minnesota game that by the time this actually comes out, the game will be well over with, and so people will know instantly whether you're right or not?
I'm going to say 27-17 Hawks. I think it'll be a 10-point win is what I'm predicting. So
Is it at Kinnick this year?
yeah, it's a kidding.
Okay.
So 2:30 tomorrow. So
Yep. I still think that there's residual leftovers from the Cooper DeJean fair catch, not a fair catch thing from a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, that started last year when we played them, and we're not done yet. So.
I don't think Iowa's over it yet.
No, they're not. I'm not.
I think
over
that
yet.
Going up to Minnesota and beating them up there last year, that helped. But that's the 1 year out of the last 10 that Iowa did not win that game.
No, absolutely.
And I don't, like I said, I don't think it has to be locker room material as they're getting ready for this game, that they're still talking about it, because I would be, if I was on the coaching staff, you bet I'd be talking about it.
Yeah. So no, I just, I think it's going to be a big game tomorrow. Iowa's played really well. Of course, I've heard about the teams you played. I'm like, listen, you don't play the teams that are in front of you. Whatever they do before and afterward. Who knew Wisconsin going to stink so bad, and who knew about Penn State? But preseason, everybody thought X, Y, and Z, and you play them, and Iowa's the next game on the list, or Minnesota's the next game on the list. So you just got to play them. So
back when they first came up with the different divisions inside of the Big Ten, and they were making sure that traditional rivalry still existed. And this is back when Nebraska first came in, so the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry hadn't really been what it is now. The fact that they didn't give Iowa Minnesota on that, I always thought was kind of strange. I mean, they beat Iowa Purdue, which
that was dumb. That crossover. Well, here's the deal now, though. Iowa's the only team in the Big Ten that's actually got 3 crossover games, because they got Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nebraska. It's like, how the hell do you pull that off? And I said, and I don't know what each team picked, but yeah, it was kind of weird how that all came to be. It's like, okay, well, y'all get to be Iowa's sacrificial lamb, I guess. So it's like, so
it was always traditional that Minnesota was the last game of the year, and that was before everything got changed up and they added all the teams. It was always, that was the last game of the year, was Iowa Minnesota, and that was to me, that was the rivalry game inside the conference.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but yeah, and like I said, we'll see. Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota's a bad team. They beat up on Nebraska last week, so it's who saw that coming. Stephen M. Sipple said before the beginning of the year that Nebraska had the best offensive line in the Big Ten. I think after last week, there's a lot of people that would argue that sentiment.
But, yeah, it's and since we're talking about it, and again, these games will be over with. Nebraska Northwestern. If somehow Nebraska loses that game, and they have struggled with Northwestern historically, that could start a free fall for that team.
Yeah.
And listen, I think that Matt Rule is probably the best coach that they've had for a long time.
He's a good coach. I won't argue that.
Yeah. So I doubt that they're going to be ready to play, but It's, I've said it many times too, and this is the kind of stuff that gets me in trouble, is the fan base. You see it in year 3 into year 4 of all of this coaching river that we've seen going through Lincoln. That's usually about when the fan base starts to give up.
Yeah.
And once that happens, the team follows.
Yeah.
And you've seen it every year. I mean, look back to what happened to Mike Riley. When the crowd quit on him, the team quit on him.
Yeah, well, it can happen. It can happen at every school if things go sideways a handbag. I remember 2012 in Iowa. It was not a happy time. So, and fans don't forget that, you learn a lot more from getting your ass beat than you do winning. So, unfortunately, you have to figure that out. But yeah, no, unless it probably just comes up, it'll probably be November. There might be an election, but might be an election that's done over with by then.
Yeah, by that point there could be. That's the danger of we're not live. We record these ahead of time. So
yeah, so what so who knows? So who knows what might happen between now and then? So,
well, all righty, sir. Grateful for your time as always. Sorry it's been such a hard week. I'm sure that you're letting Hayden handle the lion's share of all of the stress from that.
Yeah, I've been involved enough to know that I don't want to be involved with it. So, yeah, no, that's kind of what we're doing. So, but anyway, yeah, everybody have a good weekend. Stay warm or stay cold. I guess we'll see what the weather does on a given day. But yeah, so it'll all be good. So,
all right, looking forward to the next time, and we thank you for watching and listening this episode of Circle of Trades. Back with another one very soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.